Just killed it.
You made the decision to play Thiago. Klopp doesn't change the system since Blue left. You don't want to change from the 4-3-3. Boom, boom, boom. What's going on, people? We're back again on the Joey James Show for another preview. Now, yes, I know you guys love the lives. You guys love the interaction. Couldn't get that out for you today. It's been a hectic day. Jam-packed tomorrow as well with, we've got stuff going on in the house. I've got errands to run. And we're going to obviously drop some content with you. I'm looking to do a call-in show or so, maybe in regards to the game. But I said, why not get the people what they want and give them that preview? And listen, Liverpool have got a massive game against West Ham on the Sunday. So we need to do the preview for that. And hopefully you guys can enjoy me and discover something a bit different. A pre-recorded show about something you could just listen to quickly if you're doing your errands on a Saturday like I will be tomorrow or anything else. As I always say, anytime we get in front of the camera, myself or G, please make sure you are smashing a like. Make sure you're heading over to GTV as well to look at any kind of previews, any kind of player analysis that we discuss here will be done over there as well. And if you want to become a member, please make sure to click the join button. That should be somewhere. Not on YouTube. I don't really know how this shit works, but it is what it is. It is where it is, people. But let's just get started straight away. We've got a massive game against West Ham. We've got two massive games coming up in the Premier League, in fact, sandwiched in between, obviously. Sandwiched in between, you've got the Leicester game. But the first of these three games being obviously West Ham, Leicester and Spurs. West Ham are going to be a very, very difficult outfit. Coming to Anfield, as you already know, Mikel Antonio, big cojones. Got a lot to say about Liverpool. Got a lot to say, about his opinion and his opinion that he'll finish above Liverpool and so forth, which, I think we need to go and put those to bed. And I think we need to put in a very, very good performance. But that doesn't take away anything from what Liverpool and West Ham have done this season. And looking at West Ham, if we're just being honest, look, they're sitting 10th at the 6th currently with 10 points. Liverpool obviously sitting 3rd with 13 points at the moment. West Ham's last results are coming, they've got obviously played 5 games, 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. The first draw coming against Bournemouth, I believe, at the beginning of the season. Really, really shaky start. Everyone didn't know what's going on with, Declan Rice. And so they handled it really well. And 3 wins on a bounce, looking like a real strong outfit. They did succumb to a loss against Manchester City. Well, and that's inevitable. Manchester City do obviously turn up. And listen, there were acrimonious circumstances. It was a bit dubious, penalty shouts. Haaland didn't have the best of games, yet City still showed obviously their fighting spirit. But listen, West Ham weren't no slouches in that game. And I think that's something to be obviously taken obviously note of. As we can see, and I'm going to get up for you people, because I've done some research. I like to do some research when we're chatting about stuff. 2 seconds. Here we go. So as we can see here, we're looking at obviously the table. In the table here, we can see West Ham sitting 6th there. And don't worry, I'm going to get to this graphic in a minute. But the first graphic I want to look at kind of, Man City, and look at the kind of their XG and how it's going to work. So obviously, as we can see, and compare it to Liverpool. So as we can see, people, let me just get my face in here as well so you guys can see me, because I can do that right now. It's not working on this. Well, don't worry, I'm going to chat through it. But as you can see, people, you can see here, Liverpool sitting in 3rd, having expected goals, obviously, of 7.5. Literally, the 3rd highest? Well, no, not actually the 3rd highest. 4th highest in the, 5th highest in the league. Aston Villa have a massive XG of 8.57, which I obviously didn't see. Tottenham, of course, understandably started really well under Ange Postecoglou with 7.75. Manchester City up at the top with 9.08, but only coming in 2nd with Brighton with a 9.21. West Ham, on the other hand, real good, obviously, performances. 3 wins on the bounce, obviously a draw at the beginning of the season, first game of the season, and then obviously a loss to Man City, which is, you can't really criticize a team like West Ham. Manchester City are the best team in the Premier League at the moment, but they've only got an XG of 5.34. And that doesn't really bode well. And if you had to just look at these stats in terms of XG, you'd sit there and be like, hey, in the top 6, they've got the worst XG. Like Arsenal have got a quite long, but they've got the worst XG. Aston Villa have a bigger XG than them, obviously sitting in 7th as well. Nottingham Forest, very low as well. And Crystal Palace quite low. And look, Crystal Palace have a better XG than West Ham. Yet West Ham are obviously being talked about as being this great team, obviously offensively going forward. Great new signings. And we're obviously going to get into their signings. Along with obviously their established players as well. And we move on to it and we look at the kind of the XG, so goals conceded, expected goals conceded. And here, obviously, we can see Liverpool looking to concede about 4.53 goals. And we know about Liverpool's obviously issues defensively, and we're going to get into that. But I think I wanted to highlight West Ham's. West Ham's is massive. West Ham's expected goals against is the biggest in the top 8. The largest in the top 8, averaging on about, 7 goals conceded. They should have, we're expected to concede 7 goals so far this season. So it is really daunting. And when you look at these stats, you wonder to yourself, how the hell have West Ham been able to get across and be in this position where they're 6th, only 3 points behind Liverpool? Great start for West Ham, especially considering Moyes, on the back end of last season, before going into that Europa Conference League final, really getting spoken about in negative terms, fans wanting him out, not really happy, in the relegation zone for a massive period of the season last year. Lo and behold, they got rid of Rice and they've dealt with that brilliantly. And you've got to say, but this is why West Ham are a dangerous outfit. And I'm going to go and show us a comparison. As we can see, and this is team sequence styles. And what team sequence styles are, people, are a culmination of trying to show how fast and direct, or the speed of passes are in comparison to other teams. So as we can see here, Liverpool ranging around the kind of middle. So we tend to be moderately fast. Do you know what I mean? For a top 4 team, we're quite fast, only behind really, stereotypically top 4 team, only really behind Manchester United. We know about Manchester United's woes and them having to play on the counter-attack. Liverpool, a very direct team. If you go and look at, Fulham's build-up, Brighton's build-up, Chelsea's build-up, Newcastle's build-up, even Burnley's build-up, Man City's build-up right at the bottom of being slow and intricate. But West Ham's the fastest and most direct team in the Premier League, right behind Nottingham Forest. And then if you look just down there, of course, you see United there, but it's Luton Town. And Luton Town are a team that, we've spoken about on stream, and maybe I haven't, and potentially will do. Very direct team, obviously a team I used to go and play for. So I understand the philosophy, I understand the style of play that the team's kind of engrossed in. Very much about being very direct, getting the ball back to front as quickly as possible, and then trying to attack. West Ham right at the top of the Premier League. So they're very direct team. And if I go ahead here and we look at kind of the heat map for West Ham, you can see here the red indicates where the opposition have most of the possession against them. A lot of the times, do you know what I mean? And the grey areas are obviously the competed areas. The blue area is really where they go and dominate. So it might be Kurt Zouma, getting on the ball with Aged as well. Aged or Ogbonna, again, might be, I think he did have a suspension. But Ogbonna as well, getting on that ball from the back. A lot of the ball, keep having a lot of the ball. But really kind of playing this low block football in this grayed out area. So it just shows where kind of they're competing or battling with the opposition, where these areas are contested. They're a team that, really just concede possession all over the pitch. They don't mind not having the ball. And it's going to be a very difficult game, because even though the onus is going to be on us as the home team to get on the ball, to dominate possession, I'm looking at this game and saying, it's not always going to meet the eye. I'm not looking at this game and thinking, because we dominate possession means that we're going to be the better team. And I know we say that a lot of the time, but in this game especially and specifically, because this is a team that do not want possession. They want to be very direct in transition. As you can see, those grayed out areas, and I'll get that up again for you people, are the areas that Bowen and Benrahma really go and target. Kudus as well, that's obviously come on and played on the right as well. Done this obviously midweek in the Europa League. These are areas where they're trying to get their wingers on the ball, get it into Antonio as quick as possible and try to get off quick shots. So for me, it's going to be very interesting. And when we compare that to Liverpool's as an example, and we're going to obviously get onto Liverpool, you can see here, the blue area is where Liverpool dominate the ball. So where Liverpool like to be on the ball. So as you can see, the outer area, so the wide area, so Robertson getting on the ball, in behind Trent in that red little box in the left-hand corner, that's obviously in behind Trent or in behind our fullback a lot of the time. We're contesting the area, but we want Trent to obviously play either more inverted or higher forward. We're dominating a large proportion of the pitch. We're not dominating the wide areas. And for me, that's a really, really interesting point, the contested area. So as you can see, looking left to right, you can see obviously our goal starts on the left and we're trying to attack towards the red zone. And that's where we don't have a lot of the ball. As we know, that is a contested area and our teams will have a lot of the ball there. Playing Nunes, having a gap where we like to drop in and we do play through Salah. And as you can see, that right-hand side really kind of suggests that with dominating a lot of that area, and if not, we're contesting a lot of that area. But Bowen and Benrahma are going to be on the other side, and I think that's where they're going to go and obviously kill us. The last time we played them, obviously, I was at the London Stadium, and we got the job done, but it weren't great. It weren't great at all. Not a great performance. Great goal from Paquetá as well. And for me, that's going to be a massive, massive area of concern. But look, going on to Liverpool, I've got a few stats that I obviously just want to read out for you guys. And I think it's important to obviously just go and summarize and talk about the game and how that's obviously going to go and affect us. So, as we can go and see, Liverpool obviously have won their last 6 Premier League home games against West Ham. The Reds have just lost one of the last 50 league games at Anfield against the Hammers, a 3-0 loss in August 2015 under Brendan Rodgers. So the stats do favour us, especially at Anfield. People know how dominant we are at Anfield. Yet we had a slip up last season, but Anfield was still relatively. It was a fortress, so and so. Like you might have got on a draw, we might have lost the odd goal here, the odd game here and there. But we weren't losing games on the bounce. Anfield is a very, very difficult place for any team to go, let alone a West Ham team that have only lost one in the last 50 games, at Anfield. Since doing the double over Liverpool in 2015-16, West Ham have won just one of their last 14 Premier League games against the Reds, which was obviously a 3-2 home win in November 2021. So you can see how way back, how far that goes. Going on, obviously, Liverpool have won more points from losing positions than any other Premier League side this season, winning all 3 games, which they've fallen behind 3-1, 2-1, and 3-1. And obviously, all those teams being Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Wolves, with Bournemouth and Newcastle going down to 10 men in obviously those games as well. West Ham have won their last 2 Premier League away games, just 1 victory fewer than they managed on the road in the whole of last season. They've not won 3 in a row since October 2021. So as I said, again, great start for West Ham. How can they go and beat this kind of, not curse, but this hoodoo of going away to games? And obviously they've lost against Newcastle. It's going to be really interesting how they bounce back as a team from a neutral's perspective. Of course, I don't care about that at all. West Ham manager David Moyes has never won in 18 Premier League away games against Liverpool. The only occasion a manager taking charge of more away games against a side without ever winning is Moyes himself, which is 19 at Arsenal. Hasn't got a great record against us. Some key points to obviously note as well is obviously in regards to Mo Salah, and this is the main guy for us. No player has more Premier League assists this season than Liverpool's Mo Salah. He's also either scored or assisted in his last 11 Premier League appearances, with only 3 players doing so in 12 in a row, which is Stan Collymore between March and August 95. And of course, the Jamie Vardy, which got 15 between August and December 2015. And obviously Salah himself, who actually done this as well between August and December 2021. So he's done this before. He does this, but in company with obviously Vardy, who went on a ridiculous run where he went on, I believe, 11 consecutive goals. And yeah, it's man, obviously Stan Collymore. James Ward-Prowse has either scored or assisted a goal in each of his last 6 Premier League appearances, including all 4 so far for West Ham. There have been 8 occasions of a player scoring or assisting in his first 5 appearances for the club. in the competition. Most recently, Erling Haaland at Man City last season. Obviously, the last stat I've got to read out for you guys in regards to obviously another West Ham player. Jarrod Bowen has scored in all 3 of West Ham's Premier League away games this season. Only 2 players have scored in 4 in a row on the road for the Hammers in the competition. Frederick Canute in January 2001 and Mikel Antonio in 2020, which obviously he got 5 in the month of October. So listen, a lot of stats to go and get your head around there. And these probably stats might help you if you're a betting man, if you're doing anything like that. But if we go and look at kind of Liverpool and look at how they're obviously going to play, Liverpool are going to have to go and combat with a lot of long balls. And I've kind of, on the football terrace, on this stream, I've criticized Liverpool sometimes in trying to be too direct. And I'm going to shove that criticism out there. So if Klopp's watching, if the players are watching, please listen. I believe, in my humble opinion, we need to try and keep the ball much better than we do, not play too direct, because I think that's what West Ham are going to really go and benefit from. If we go back to obviously their heat map here, they don't mind not having the ball. They're going to stay in their box and they're going to camp out and they're going to defend crosses, blocks. They don't mind conceding possession here because they're looking for the space in behind an advanced Robertson, an advanced Trent, obviously, or whoever plays at right back, whether that be Bajcetic or Gomez, which we'll get into. It's good. It's very important we go and keep the ball. Use the likes of McAllister, I think, is going to obviously come back in. Soboslai and obviously our other midfielder, which I will speak about later, to go and kind of dominate the ball. And I think we need to be able to go and do that. I think an early goal really helps us secure that. And I know Liverpool's aim is always to go and do that. But if we don't get that early goal, I do want us to systematically break them down. Of course, when the game goes on longer, West Ham do become more dangerous because they're going to go and try going direct into Antonio. Antonio isn't the most prolific. I know he scored a lot of goals for West Ham, actually their leading goal scorer in the Premier League. But he's a player that I don't see him necessarily getting a goal. And if he does, it will be from a set piece. But he's going to cause a nuisance. He's going to pull onto Van Dijk's side. He's going to pull over onto Konate's side, feel out which ones, more kind of easier to get at. Will pull out wide if he has to try and get on a Trent if he's available, or Robbo if he's available, get on our left back and our right back, and just try and find a weakness there, and then allow the likes of Bowen, Ben Rama to get in behind. That then provides the space for a Kudus or a Paqueta or a Ward-Prowse to really get on the ball, and that's going to cause us a lot of problems. I think Liverpool need to go and start really strong, but control the game as much as possible. Set pieces are going to be massive for West Ham. As we've heard there, Ward-Prowse has assisted in every single game this season. He's either scored or assisted in every single game. So in his last 6 Premier League appearances, that includes West Ham. So he is on form. He's going to be a massive danger. And for me, that is a massive worry because we're conceding a lot of chances. We are conceding a lot of chances. We're conceding in every single game this season, bar Aston Villa. So for me, I'm looking at this game and I really want to see a clean sheet. In an ideal world, I think a clean sheet would really go and suggest, you know what, we're finally starting to click into gear. Aston Villa was a great example of that. If we can replicate that performance again, I think we'll be flying and I think we'll be fine. As I said, the stats do suggest that Liverpool can come into form. And as we know, we've got a potent attack. And I think that attack is really going to bode well for the future. So just to summarize in regards to West Ham, before I get on to obviously Liverpool's lineup, I think the key danger men are going to be Bowen if he's available. But although Bowen is, I've heard that he's ill. So he's actually a 50-50 kind of availability or 50-50 likelihood of him playing in the game. So we'll have to go and wait and see. That's obviously come from David Moyes in the press conference. They do have the likes of Kudus to go and come in, Maxwell Cornet as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how West Ham line up if they haven't got Jarrod Bowen. But Jarrod Bowen obviously a massive threat. I think Antonio from set pieces. I'm looking at Paqueta and I'm looking at Alvarez as well. Can Alvarez go and stop our counter-attacks? We saw how good he was for Ajax. I think that combination between Kudus and Alvarez, both coming from Ajax, is going to really bode well for West Ham in a general sense. Ward-Prowse for me is a massive plus. I'm going to get into the lineup right now, people. So let's get into it. And as we can see here, let me make that bigger for you guys. There we go. I've gone with this lineup, and this is my predicted lineup for West Ham. This is the team that I would go with. we know, obviously, Alisson comes back in. I think Keller had a decent run out, obviously, against Lask in Europa League a couple of days ago. As we see here, this centre-back partnership is the same centre-back partnership that played against Lask. They got their minutes under their belt. As we know, Van Dijk has been suspended for 2 games. And now he's available to go and obviously he's available to go and play in this game, which is a massive, massive plus. However, people will say, but he just played the game the other day. Klopp has come out and said, look, that's not a problem in terms of playing Thursday and Saturday. That's enough time to recover. And Virgil van Dijk, you know, he got not up to speed because he has played international, obviously, football, being on international duty with the Netherlands. But he's a player that's available. He's our skipper, and I think he goes straight into the lineup. Konate, on the other hand, we know he's coming back from an injury. Played obviously the full game against Lask as well. Came on for about 30 minutes, 20 minutes on the back end of obviously the game against Wolves. So he's up to fire now, and I think no fitness shouldn't be an issue from him. Robertson, for me, fully rested. Tsimikas got to play the full 90, and terrible performance from him. So I don't see Tsimikas coming into this game. But cool, like Robbo for me comes in. We've got Gomez, and now Gomez for me, top, obviously, performance against Newcastle when he came in, and then Aston Villa. An okay game against Wolves, to say the least. I mean, I think Neto did have the run of the mill with him. Gomez obviously coming inverted, something that we didn't really expect. But I think it suggests that Liverpool are really looking to go and kind of keep up with the formation. And I know there's been a lot of talk about why don't we play to our strengths. I think Liverpool are trying to build something in terms of a formation, and Klopp's spoken about building this Liverpool 2.0. I think it's going to look something like Trent inverting a lot of the time. So no matter who plays there is going to have to go and do that role in order to help, obviously, the person who plays in DMs. Joe Gomez obviously got rested against Lask, did come on for the last 20 minutes or so to replace Bajcetic, or 30 minutes or so. So he'll be up to speed. I think he'll be fine. I think that's going to be the back line. Very solid. It's going to be interesting to see whether Robertson advances and Gomez stays back. Does Gomez play as a standard right back? Does he come inverted again? I do think he'll invert, but it'll be interesting to see. McAllister, for me, as we can go and see here, comes in for the DM. Obviously rested against... not rested, but obviously hooked at half-time after a shocking performance, if we're being honest. Due to obviously jet lag and just fatigue from traveling from international break. But poor performance, obviously hooked off. Came in, obviously. There's been a lot of talk about McAllister, you know, he's not a DM. However, he provides something to us that we don't really have when we've got someone on the ball, which is an option, an outlet, if we can't go very direct, which we can do. So a lot of the time, let's say we go in inverted, and I'll pull this out here and kind of just show you people. Jones obviously goes up, Szoboszlai comes up a bit more, and this happens. And when this happens here, it means that there's always an option. Of course, Gomez comes in and he's an option as well. But let's say Van Dijk goes very direct into Salah, but that's cut off all of a sudden, or Konate wants to play direct into Diaz, or however we want to go and play, or Szoboszlai's going to pick up the ball and try to run with it. Let's say he can't. He can always go and find McAllister, and McAllister's a pair of safety hands. And I think that's something that Gini Wijnaldum really offered us. And we've missed as a team, if we're being honest. We have missed. So it's good to go and have him in there. On his day, I still want to see him kind of dominate games. And I think he comes in. I think Klopp's got a lot of trust in him and understands his fatigue. So, yes, I think McAllister starts in the DM. For me, this has obviously gone all over the place. Obviously, Szoboszlai, our number 8, comes in 100%. Obviously came in against Lask and changed the game again. A real kind of, people talk about Steven Gerrard reincarnation. I haven't seen a midfielder like this since Gerrard, in terms of all action, two-way player, can defend, can attack. Played in the DM against Wolves, really showed his versatility. We looked at the stats, massive player, massive coup if we're looking at it right now. Early start of the season. If you got a couple more goals, couple more assists, I think he would have won. Player of the month for the Premier League. So massive, obviously great, super signing. And for me, on the left of midfield, I'm going with Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones obviously saw out the game against Wolves with Szoboszlai, done really well in that second half after that kind of non-existent first half. Didn't play against Lask at all, so got a full game's rest. Gravenberch obviously made his debut for Liverpool. Gravenberch had a great game, great assist as well. I give it about a 7 or 8 out of 10. I mean, there's a couple times I think Klopp spoke about he could have been a bit more decisive. He went on a break towards the 70th minute, I think, 60th, 70th minute when he obviously before he came off, and could have kind of played the pass into Nunes and tried to play it into Diaz, and it got intercepted. And there's a kind of indecisiveness in his game. But look, it's a first game for a long time. Hasn't played at Liverpool in a competitive game. Makeshift game, obviously makeshift team as well. So I think you go back to the bench. But Curtis Jones for me, I think is Klopp's main man in midfield alongside Szoboszlai at the moment. We saw it. He was injured. He came straight back in, and I think he understands the system. And again, I think he's decent for what we're trying to go and do. Can play a multitude of roles in the midfield. I think that's important. I'm going with Luis Diaz on the left. Now, I know he played a full 90 at last, but I think considering his kind of performance in terms of trying to get on the ball, really being direct, getting in behind, he's scoring a goal, almost scoring a second with a great Salah pass as well when Salah came on. He's just a problem. He's a problem, and right now I think he's performing at a better level than a lot of our forwards. Arguably, Salah's playing the best, but Luis Diaz is also, and he's starting to get that output as well. I think the understanding between Salah and Diaz is getting better as well. So for me, I'm going with Diaz, and I think he comes off at the 60th minute or so for a Nunes, for a Jota or so. Up front, Nunes got a full 90, but I still don't think that has earned him a starting spot at Liverpool. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, a lot of the Nunes stands, but I think Nunes, he creates a lot of havoc and a lot of chances. I think he impacts the game more off the bench at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about, his link up with Salah, maybe Salah bringing out the best of him. Maybe so. Maybe Nunes does start and kind of gets hooked off. But I wouldn't want that pressure on him. I think Gakpo can come in and we can keep the ball a bit better. And I think against West Ham, we're going to have to try and keep the ball and not be as direct straight off the bat. So I'm going with Gakpo. And of course, the main man out wide is Mo Salah. Listen, I've got to say his all-round game has improved immensely this season. It's come on leaps and bounds. Last season, when we were talking about him being a touchline winger, we hated it. It didn't work. It was terrible. Nunes missing chances. Salah not getting into the box. He's found a real good balance, and he's proven to be a great, honestly, a great player. I'm looking at the passes, the spaces he's picking up. He's not just running to the box trying to score goals. I think he's understanding his importance to the team. And yeah, so this is the team, obviously, that I'm going with. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think this is a good team? Who would you guys change? Please let me know. As I said, I think our massive threat will come from, obviously, Szoboszlai, obviously, getting on the ball. It'll be really interesting to see how Curtis Jones and Robertson deal with the likes of Jared Bowen on that left-hand side, and obviously Soufal as well at right back. It's going to be really interesting to go and see whether that's Kudus, obviously, or Bowen. Massive, obviously, game for them as well. And I'd like to go and see Virgil van Dijk and Konate start to form a partnership that can generate clean sheets, because currently they're great players individually, but I don't think they've got that kind of symbiotic kind of, partnership like Joe Gomez and Virgil had when we won the league, or Matip and Virg have had. So it's going to be really, really good to see just them build on that and go from there, man. Obviously, this is the last segment of the preview, and it's obviously the score predictions. I don't really like doing score predictions, if I'm being honest. I never ever get them right, ever. So if you're a betting man, don't look at me at all. But for me, I'm looking at it, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go with I go with a 3-1 win to Liverpool. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Liverpool. I think going forward, we've seen that we can score goals against anyone. Against 10 men, against Newcastle, we still managed to score 2. Lask, poor performance in the first half, still ended up scoring 3. I think we are going to concede. I think we're a team that's conceding right now, and I don't see any real positive from a defensive standpoint. In terms of how are we going to get more solid, as we showed there, we're conceding a lot of goals, a lot of fluff flying around in my house as well from my cat, so apologies for that. But yeah, for me, I'm looking at it, and yeah, I'm looking at a 3-1 win. I think we're going to concede. It will probably be from a set piece, whether that's a free kick or a corner. I think James Ward-Prowse is a massive danger. What a super signing for them. They've got a lot of, obviously, Zuma is very, very dangerous from the back as well. So I'm probably going to go with a set piece goal for West Ham. Who's going to be the first scorer for Liverpool? I am going to go with Luis Diaz. I'm going to go with Luis Diaz for the first goal. I think Salah will create. I think Diaz has been a pest this season, really, really been on fire with his runs in behind. If Salah can find him, I think he's going to be a problem. And it's going to obviously bode well for the future. Remember Mane making those runs as well. So I'm really excited to see what partnership can obviously be formed from there. But people, that's been the preview. I only took 30 minutes of your time, so hopefully it's not too long. You guys can run through that tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Give me your score predictions in the comments as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do you know what I mean? Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Do all that type of things. Hit the bell notification to stay obviously updated. I need pure likes on this video, please. Pure likes. That would be amazing. But look, until next time, people, stay blessed. Keep it real. It's been the Jerry James Show, and we are out.